Well, good evening once again. Day 1433 of the Trump administration, 29 days until the inauguration of Joe Biden as our 46th president. With his time in office running out, Donald Trump has issued his first big wave of pardons and commutations. The list includes convicted liars, murderers, and corrupt politicians. In what appears to be a move to chip away at the Mueller investigation, Trump has given full pardons to George Papadopoulos, a foreign policy advisor to the Trump 2016 campaign, who, by the way, pleaded guilty to lying to the FBI. He also gave a full pardon to Alex van der Zwaan, who had worked with the Trump former campaign chairman Paul Manafort, also pleaded guilty to lying to Mueller's team. Then there are three crooked former Republican members of Congress, all three of whom were put away by Trump's own Justice Department. There's Steve Stockman of Texas, convicted on charges of fraud and money laundering. There's Duncan Hunter of California, who pleaded guilty to misusing campaign funds. And there's Chris Collins of upstate New York, the first Trump supporter in Congress, who pleaded to lying to the FBI and conspiring to commit securities fraud. He was the one who, as a guest at the annual congressional picnic, summer of 2017, was caught on camera phoning insider stock tips to his son from the South Lawn of the White House, according to the feds. Also on this initial pardon list, 4 military contractors who worked for Blackwater and were all convicted of killing 14 unarmed Iraqi civilians in Baghdad in '07. The dead included 2 children. Just minutes after those pardons were announced, Trump then posted a video in which he seemed to threaten to veto the massive $900 billion COVID relief bill that Congress just passed 24 hours ago.
Throughout the summer, Democrats cruelly blocked COVID relief legislation in an effort to advance their extreme left-wing agenda and influence the election. The bill they are now planning to send back to my desk is much different than anticipated. It really is a disgrace. It's called the COVID relief bill, but it has almost nothing to do with COVID. I am asking Congress to amend this bill and increase the ridiculously low $600 to $2,000 or $4,000 for a couple. I'm also asking Congress to immediately get rid of the wasteful and unnecessary items from this legislation and to send me a suitable bill, or else the next administration will have to deliver a COVID relief package, and maybe that administration will be me, and we will get it done.
Trump had been expected to sign the nearly 6,000-page relief bill before leaving for Mar-a-Lago for the Christmas holiday. He was largely absent for the bipartisan negotiations. He never named a dollar amount that Americans should receive. The bill passed both houses with veto-proof majorities. This will get interesting because it provides aid for millions of Americans whose lives have been upended by this pandemic. Trump later followed that up with another video in which he revisited his falsehoods about the outcome of our election.
We won this election by a magnificent landslide, and the people of the United States know it. All over, they're demonstrating. They're angry. They're fearful. We cannot allow a completely fraudulent election to stand.
Meanwhile, Axios is reporting that Trump has been turning on his own advisors. Quote, targets of his outrage include Vice President Pence, Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, White House counsel Pat Cipollone, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Trump thinks everyone around him is weak, stupid, or disloyal, and increasingly seeks comfort only in people who egg him on to overturn the election results. We cannot stress enough how unnerved Trump officials are by the conversations unfolding inside the White House. That last sentence from Jonathan Swan should be a wake-up call. Those conversations include efforts to spread disinformation about Dominion voting systems' so-called involvement in Biden's win. Today, an official with Dominion voting systems who has gone into hiding after becoming the subject of conspiracy theories on the right since the election was held is now suing the Trump campaign, a number of campaign surrogates, and pro-Trump media networks alleging defamation. Amid all this, the incoming president today tried to occupy the leadership role that Trump has essentially vacated as he fixates on his campaign to overdo the election. Joe Biden spoke today in a year's-end pre-holiday address, offering a sobering look at the challenges ahead in fighting the pandemic while slamming Trump's handling of the latest suspected Russian cyber attack.
One thing I promise you about my leadership during this crisis, I'm going to tell it to you straight. I'm going to tell you the truth. And here's the simple truth. Our darkest days in the battle against COVID are ahead of us, not behind us. This attack constitutes a grave risk to our national security. It certainly fits Russia's long history of reckless, disruptive cyber activities. But the Trump administration needs to make an official attribution. This assault happened on Donald Trump's watch, when he wasn't watching.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.